What's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and this is my show, Uncut Astrology, where I take off the mask and go deep behind the veil and give you this week's astrological forecast for the week of July the 6th through to about the 12th, 13th of 2016. Hope in the Desert, my awesome show in Las Vegas. It's going on in September. You can get one-day tickets, three-day tickets. You can get them now at leokingevents.com. Special group rates, everything for the most amazing astrology event you have ever been to in your whole life. And of course, you can watch my daily videos and my daily horoscopes, my weekly horoscopes of the sun signs, and my notifications to your cell phone, all astrology horoscope related, the #1 video astrology app and notification app in the world for astrology. You can get that at the leokingapp.com or at the Apple or Android store. And my July horoscope is up on that in the iPhone store, or you can get it at inclusiveastrology.com. Now, we have a lot to talk about this week. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have some really powerful transits. We got a lot of good things going on. We also got a lot of deep, intense things going on too. But I think that this is a lot of positive coming into this week. Number one, we are dealing with a week where the Sun and Jupiter will make a sextile. So even though this isn't the main transit, I just want to put this through everybody's head this week. Really positive aspects happening, gifts coming from left and right, but a lot of shedding to accept these gifts. The Sun and Mercury are going to conjunct in Cancer as it exactly, both of them oppose Pluto. Pluto, the sign, the planet of transformation, death, rebirth, but truth. And it is the planet of the Phoenix rising, all while Mars is in its home of Scorpio. This triples the power of Pluto, especially as Pluto is in Capricorn, which is actually not a bad place for Pluto to be. This isn't a time where your emotions are facing your deep truths. You need to let out. You need to really see things. I'm calling it spade to spade. You need to really be honest with yourself. And it's time for you to let go. Let go of the things that are not serving you anymore. And be honest. This is Venus squaring Uranus. Be honest when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to projects, because you probably want it to go a certain way, especially with Uranus and Aries, right? Uranus and Aries is like, ooh, I've got all these ideas and all these ways of how I'm figuring out how I want my life. But Venus is in Cancer squaring this spot while the Sun and Mercury oppose Pluto. You know what this means? The universe is giving you a great gift because the Sun is sextiling Jupiter, Mercury sextiling Jupiter. The universe is giving a great gift this week. And it's not coming maybe in the form that you maybe, years, months, weeks ago thought it would turn out to look like. But the truth is it might have shown up in a different form, an alien sort of form. This might be you entering into a new relationship that maybe you weren't thinking of that you would ever could, or you didn't think it was be this kind of person kind of showing up. This is also where you didn't think that you would end a certain partnership, but really, finally, everything bubbled up and showed you the truth and was like, why have I been dealing with this? Why have I been putting this in my world? This is extreme clearings. We've been talking a lot about relationship aspects because relationships are really important in this transformational process in our life. They are the reflections of who we are. We have been dealing with heavy Venus transitions right now with the Sun and Venus changing from the morning to the evening star, and Venus is coming in to this passage, right? This very powerful place. And as it opposes Pluto that it did, and now it's squaring Uranus, this is kind of the last, major difficult but yet really powerful transformational aspects for Venus to go through. Venus went through a lot, okay? And so Venus coming off Uranus this week, then with the Sun Jupiter is going to be like, let's clear that off. Let's see that, let's see things differently. Maybe also a project is going a way you didn't expect, but maybe it might take you to the right place. Uranus rules alien. It rules things in different direction. It rules unpredictability. It rules things that you never guessed would happen could happen, or that you couldn't even think about could actually happen. And so when Venus is squaring here, Sun's opposing Pluto, this is a Sun-Venus aspect, which is a Leo-Libra aspect, right? It's love, it's relationships, it's your creativity, it's your values, and it's really like saying, maybe I do need to try a different aspect. Maybe I do need to let go of this. Maybe I do need to expose the truth. Maybe I do need to let it out. This is Mercury post Pluto. You need to like let the truth out. You can't avoid it. You can't suppress it. You can't bullshit it. You can't do any of these things anymore. Like it all has to really come out, especially in Cancer. The emotions, like they're going through so much. And if you suppress them, you're not going to be able to reach where you want to go. It's Pluto and Capricorn. You got to go where you got to go. So this week, by you releasing your emotions, by you letting it out, you're doing it. And I would do it in a way that you're in a clear place. It was so funny. I did a live Facebook stream and I let out a lot of crap. I called out some astrologers. I called out the EDM DJ community and how it's all bullshit music to me. I called out and not house music, which is good music. Like I did some of that, calling out a lot on my live Facebook, and I actually had like 5 comments being like, "Are you drunk?" And it's so ironic that July is actually my 1-year anniversary of not having 1 sip of alcohol. So I thought that was really funny. But with all this energy in Pisces, remember, and the South Node and Neptune getting closer and Chiron here, and with Jupiter and Virgo, this is a time where you let out stuff from a sober place. You let out stuff from a very clear-headed space. If you're drunk, you're up late at night, and you're letting stuff out, or whatever you're doing, that's all not coming from that right space. And so when you let this stuff out, be sure you're in a clear space when you're letting it out. Be sure that you're really in a pure state. Because if you're not, guess what? It's going to come out looking really bad. It's going to come out really messy. That's what Pisces represents. It's the garbage all over the place. It's like taking LSD and then like what the room looks like 20 hours later with 5 people taking it. Like, why did all this stuff move in this way? And why is there paint on the walls? And you know what I mean? Like, your life will start to look like that the more you're going down the deeper hole, especially with alcohol or drugs or anything right now. It just is going that way, the way the universe is. And especially, it might be difficult when you're dealing with Pluto, you're dealing with fears, you're dealing with things coming up, you're dealing with the past, you're dealing with pain. This is Chiron, which is stationary retrograde, right? It's finally starting to move, but it's still been in this really stopped position, kind of freeze framing our life on the pain that we have in our life or the things that don't work out correct. You got to face that in a clear space. And the doors are open this week with the sun sextiling Venus, Jupiter. It's extremely positive. It's extremely positive. Venus is also trining Mars, which means we have the action to take. We're not going to be afraid to take a certain new action. We might not be afraid to engage in a new relationship. We're not going to be afraid to leave a relationship. There's kind of this, let's go, let's do it. Venus, Mars energy brings things together. It also is also the courage to leave. It's also the courage to move forward in a project. It's also the courage to say, hey, this project needs to turn another corner. Let's do something about it. The other reason why relationships are so big about this week is because guess where the quarter square of the moon is this week? Libra. Libra. So when you get a quarter square of the moon in Libra, especially this one, which is happening in between, the sun will be in between the Pluto-Uranus square. This one is really bringing up your emotions, your relationships need to be in the right place. And to find that tranquility and peace with Mars and Scorpio, there's a little bit of a battle. There's a little bit of a war. There's a little bit of a need to really express your deep inner truth. This is the Phoenix rising. And you're going to have to let that shit out. It's like constipation. Like, are you going to be constipated anymore? Like, what's the deal? It's like holding it in for too long, the bathroom, and just being like, oh yeah, I'm just going to keep holding this in. I'm just going to keep, it's like, no, you just got to let it out. But, you got to do it in kind of a truthful way, but in a clear, conscious way, which might not be easy. You're going to see kind of both sides of this play out this week. Especially, Moon in Libra wants peace. Sun in Cancer wants security. And those two really actually, believe it or not, don't work well, because sometimes in order to achieve peace, you're going to have to move some of your comfort zones. And that doesn't really work that great. Sometimes we're too comfortable in a position to change. We're going to hold on to something. Fourth house rules hoarding emotionally. Like sometimes we hold on to something, right? Like, I don't know, you might hold on to a piece of jewelry that some ex gave you or something, and you hold on because that emotionally, and it also deals with Taurus aspects. But the Cancer is like, it isn't so much the physical, it's just the emotional thing of just holding on to that person and everything that went around that in their life. And like, when are you gonna let go? You know, sometimes in Libra, it's a cardinal sign too. It's about moving in new directions. And so when we're having a cardinal quarter moon, you know, it's really asking you to move into new directions this week and not be afraid to, especially Mars that has gone direct. Now Mars is officially direct. Now we've had a new moon. Now this is the time where things are moving forward. Now this is the time where you're leaving old energy. Now this is the time where you're really taking off. And, you know, I think that one of the great things is, by the end of this week, as we come into next week, Venus enters Leo, and Mercury is going to get ready to enter Leo by the end of next week. But we have Mercury and Venus that are about to conjunct, and they're going to conjunct in Leo. And you know what? Leo is going to be very powerful this July, because we're going to have Mercury, we're going to have Venus, we're going to have the Sun. And we're going to have this energy here with Saturn and Uranus and this grand trine energy. And I've been saying this for a long time, that July is the month to really ascend, and to really ascend to the depths. The reason why as well is Uranus is reaching the top, the highest it could go in the degrees this year. So this is our highest ascension point. This is a time for us to really reap the benefits of the things that God is going to give us this week, especially with Sun, Jupiter, especially with Uranus starting to station, but it's still got some energy moving forward, especially with everything moving forward in the way that it is. Especially Mercury and the Sun finally making its pass, and now Mercury's going to fly past the Sun. I'm telling you, everybody, this week is gift city. But sometimes, and you know, Steve Harvey did this great video I saw the other day where, you know, he wanted a new car when he was a kid, but he had his old car sitting in the driveway. And, you know, I thought it was so funny how he described it. His mama said, well, he would tell his mom, oh, I want a new car. And she'd be like, oh, you need to get that car off the blocks. And she said that for like 6 months. And he goes, why do you keep saying that? She goes, well, you can't, you know, get anything until you let something out, right? You got to let something out, let something in. And I think Pluto, you know, is the Grim Reaper, you know, like, it's so interesting. A baby's born and then somebody dies every day on this planet. And there's this kind of mysterious kind of, you know, exit, enter aspect of Pluto, right? Pluto is this very dark light planet. It is this very dark light energy that we need to face. And you know what? Maybe that in order for you to move on and to actually receive, which is what Pluto represents, and to actually get, which Pluto represents, and to actually, you know, manifest, which Pluto does represent in some sort of way, is to let things go and die, to let something new in. It will come in just as fast. And that's what we must face. And you know what? It's not going to be easy, because it's going to be dealing with the past. It's going to be dealing with emotions. But you know what? Sometimes you got to put those emotions aside. Sometimes, you know, you have to be tough. And that's what this is about. Being tough to accept the gifts. Jupiter in Virgo gives you gifts where you got to be kind of tough. You got to be kind of harsh. You got to be kind of critical. You got to be kind of real. Pluto in Capricorn is tough. You got to be tough. You can't let your emotions take place, because you got to be able to ascend, and you got to be able to rise up, and you got to be able to get to where you want to go in your life. And this is a time where you can't bullshit yourself no more. You can't bullshit anybody else. You can't bullshit anything you want. This is what it is. This is where you're going. And if people can't handle it, that's their issue. That's not your issue. That's their issue. Venus square Uranus is an unpredictable turn from the, you know, what? This person's going to do this to me in my life now? Oh my gosh. But maybe that's okay. Maybe that's so you can actually be like, wow, well, maybe they're out of my life so I can move this great new thing right in, right? You got to get that old couch out to get that new couch in. So don't be afraid of these crazy relationship stuff happening with a, you know, quarter square moon in Libra, Venus square Uranus, you know, Venus kind of exiting into Cancer, kind of the deeper emotional worlds. These last degrees of Cancer were also, you know, where Venus is, right, is literally kind of depression, kind of letting go, kind of suicidal aspects. You need to not lose your cool about relationship aspects, especially if you're going to try and hold on to the ones you know that are done, the ones that you know don't work. And like, don't lose yourself. Venus in Leo wants to bring warmth and love, and you can only do that once you've kind of dealt with your emotional shit. this week, as it all comes up, especially Mars and Scorpio, right? It's bringing up all the creepy crawlers, you know what I mean? I've talked about this in my monthly report if you download it. Like, it's kind of like, you know, all the bugs are like cornered now. Like, we've done so much cleaning at the deepest part of our soul. They're all kind of cornered. And like, we're like pushing the cockroaches up, but we have to like face them. And like, I've always said this for years, dealing with Saturn and Scorpio and all the Scorpio energy, is you got to realize, like, the only way for, like, the human is not like a computer where you can just delete a file. Like, if you're going to like let it go, the emotion's going to come up, you're going to experience it, you're going to retaste it, you're going to refeel it, you're going to re-experience it. It's going to come up and it's going to come through you, and then it's going to literally like purge itself out. That's the only way for things to come out. So instead of keep pushing it down, keep pushing your truth, living in a lie and all that crap, or trying to hold on to something that you want to let go of, but you're holding on to it, but it won't let anything fully in, so you can really have love by the end of this week with Venus and Leo, so you can really have love as we are going to get ready for Mercury to come into Leo next week, so you can really have love with this moon in Libra that wants to connect and have that. You can't have that if you have all these emotional issues. You can't have that if you have all these emotional ties. You can't have that if you're connected to the past. You can't have that if you're drunk. Can't have that if you're high. You can't go there. You can't pull that shit out. You can't release that stuff. Getting high, getting drunk, all those Pisces things we think is a release from reality. But at the end of the day, the only way to actually harvest reality is when you're in reality. Are you ready to harvest your life this week and accept the gifts? Sun-Jupiter days are always positive. Sextiles can even be more positive than trines because they actually create faster, more intense gifts that kind of feel like they were in the background and just show right up, and they come very powerfully. And they come because they're not in the same element. They mix two different elements together. We're mixing water and earth. We are making, the universe is harvesting the mud to create something great and beautiful. And to have the earth element and the water element come together with this Sun and Jupiter means we can really create something and really blend something. Remember, we got Saturn and Neptune still in a square, so things are, of course, still a little bit unsure about the future. But what you do know is what you want inside. You do know what you want to clear. You do know what's coming up that you want to let go of. And you might have to just do that. So remember, if you share this video, I pick every week on Facebook somebody who shares on David Lawrence Palmer's page, and I literally write, I get your birthday, I'll Facebook email you, and I'll be like, hey, I picked you this week. What's your birthday? I'll look at the chart and I'll write a cool little reading on here, and I'll snail mail this to people. So if you've already gotten the snail mails from people, you know, write the comments below so people believe that I do this, but I actually do this. So if you share this video, I truly appreciate it. All in all, though, the excitement of the gifts that come this week are going to come in ways that you never thought they were, and come kind of quick and differently. But they will change you and will kind of pull you forward now into a whole new direction in life that you didn't think was possible. And it's finally here. And it's finally for you, if you're ready to let all your baggage and shit go, rise like the phoenix, and not be afraid to emotionally face deep, dark critters, cockroaches, things that are pesticide, or whatever you call it when those people say it. It's like, oh, you know, like worms and all these things that are inside you that you got to purge out. But if you keep pushing it down, you keep trying to escape, you know, it's not going to work. Thanks so much. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope to see you out in Las Vegas for my conference. Have you guys watched the video yet? I did a video of a preview of what it's like to come to one of my events. Check it out. It's on my YouTube. Just type in Leo King Events preview or whatever, or just look on my YouTube. It's pretty awesome. It's even on the app. Thanks so much for all the support. I truly appreciate it. I pray that you have a wonderful week, that the Spirit protects you and you have ultimate guidance this week, and everything that you purge and everything that you have dealing with relationships this week is here to bring you the most beautiful emotional ones, and that you're not afraid to face whatever you got to face in order to get that. Amen. Thanks so much for all your support, and I will see you next week.